So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool, blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street, Selsey, or call 606 552.
Hello, and a warm welcome to Manhood Internet Radio. I'm Tony Weiner, your host for this show. Okay, so what do we have for you this week? Well, we will start with Alison's review of what's on in the area, and that will be followed with the answers to last week's quiz. The library service is a well-used and loved part of our community, and Claire Williams describes what services they offer, in addition, of course, to lending books. We will then go across to Mike Nichols for an update on youth work in the community. Most gardens have roses, and our gardening expert David Gaunt gives us some great tips on successful rose growing. We will then finish the show with our Mr. Quiz, Kevin, who poses another set of brain teasers. Okay, so let's start the show, and it's over to Alison for a roundup of what's on in the area.
Hello there, and welcome to our regular What's On spot in Selsey and the Witterings. So first up today, Wednesday the 22nd of June, there's a painting workshop that's being held with Wendy Gelbert. You'll find her at St Wilfrid's Church Hall from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock. The cost of that day is £25 and it's an art stream event. Thursday, of course, is an all-important day in the whole country, which is the referendum day. So apparently nothing else is going on in Selsey apart from the referendum. So if you're looking for a social life, it's to be found at the polling station. On Friday, though, when all that's over, you could go down to the U3A, who are having their monthly meeting. They meet at the Selsey Centre, and the doors open at 2 o'clock, although I believe the meeting actually starts at 2:30. This is a midsummer musical matinee with Christopher Beaumont. Doesn't say exactly what that involves, whether it's singing or dancing or piano playing, it doesn't say, so why not go along and find out? Visitors are always welcome to the U3A meetings. On Saturday, the Cat and Kitten Rehoming Day, which is being held at the Cat and Rabbit Rescue Centre, Calder Lane in Siddlesham, from 12 noon until 2 p.m. That evening, the Royal British Legion are holding a Saturday evening entertainment with a band called Stardust. That will begin at 8:15. New members are always welcome. You don't have to be a member of the Legion to go along. There's a tabletop sale also happening on Saturday. That's at Selsey Methodist Church. It's a regular event there. It's held from 9:30 until 1 o'clock, although if you're going to have a table, you need to be there from about 8:30. Refreshments will be available. If you'd like to book a table, you need to ring 601 439. So that's a tabletop sale on Saturday, June the 25th. The next day, Sunday, the RSPB are holding another of their guided walks. That begins at 10 o'clock. It should be over by 12:30, but they do advise us that booking is essential. It's £7 each, or if you're an RSPB member, it'll be £4. You can contact the RSPB on 641 508. And then later on in the day, if you'd like a sit down and a cup of tea, you need to go along to the Methodist Church at 3 o'clock. They're having a respite tea, which is free tea and a chat for any who find themselves alone that day. That's all for now in Selsey. So let's move across the peninsula now to have a look at Bracklesham and the Witterings. Nothing particularly special this week, other than, of course, the EU referendum again. So if you live there, that's where you need to be voting. Let's have a look what happens regularly on a Friday and a Saturday. In Bracklesham Barn on a Friday, there's Vinyasa Flow Yoga. That's held from 9:15 until 10:15 in the morning. Later on in the day, there's short mat bowls from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. On Saturday, there's a jazz night with the George Regis Jazz Band. That's being held at East Wittering Village Hall from 7:30 until 10:30. They're raising funds for the hospice, the St Wilfrid's Hospice. Well, that's all for now from our roundup of what's going on. Hope you enjoy your week, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you, Alison. Now let's find out the answers to last week's brain teaser.
And here once again are the answers to last week's Kevin's Connection quiz. Which 1970s/80s rock band was made up of Gordon Sumner, Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland? That was, of course, Police. Originally auditioning for the role of Hilda Ogden, which Coronation Street actress plays a barmaid who is believed to have served more than 200,000 portions of her signature dish, Lancashire Hot Pot? That, of course, is Betty Driver. In 1925, Alfred Roberts, a Lincolnshire grocer, and his wife Ethel had their second daughter. How did she become better known? That was, of course, Margaret Thatcher. Which 1970s Northern variety show, compared by Colin Crompton, introduced the talents of Cannon and Ball, Paul Daniels and the Grumbleweeds to the world? And that was the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Social Club. And Willie Lowman was the lead character in which Arthur Miller play, from 1949, and that was, of course, Death of a Salesman. And the connection? Occupations. Police, a driver, Thatcher, Will Tapper and Shunter, and of course a salesman. And that's the answer for last week's Kevin's quiz.
That was a difficult one, I thought, Kevin. Make it easier next time. Okay, so we now have an interesting interview with Claire Williams, who is talking to Keith about the services our wonderful library provides.
With me now I've got Claire Williams, and Claire is library assistant from West Sussex Libraries. And Claire's going to be giving us a bit of info about some of the stuff that the library does other than lending out books, because we all know they lend out books, but what a lot of us don't know is they've got countless other services down there. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, Keith.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty good, thanks.
Jolly good.
Now, everybody knows that the library lends out books, but there are countless other services provided by the library, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know that they exist. Now, I know that there's one, because my wife's involved with it, where they deliver books to people that are housebound and they can't get out.
That's correct. Our housebound reader service is a service that is offered to any members of the public who are unable to access the library due to their age, a disability or an illness. We match the housebound applicant with a volunteer who has been DBS, formerly known as Criminal Record Bureau checks, cleared, who will arrange a meeting to discuss their requirements. We currently have 9 housebound volunteers who visit 20 housebound readers. We're always keen to take on new housebound readers and volunteers alike. Alternatively, we do have a friends and family membership for those who'd prefer their family member to choose and collect their books for them. This has an extended loan period, no fines, no reservation charges, and a 10-week loan period. The only exception is DVDs, which are for a week, and they will incur fines.
Now, if one of my relatives is housebound and can't get out, and I come in and I just say, look, can you supply this service? Where does it go from there? Do you actually check them out, or do you just say fill in a form?
No, we'd supply you with a form to take back to your relative, and for you to just clear that with them. We'd ask them to surrender their library ticket back to us, because the housebound volunteer has their own special library ticket, which allows them all the extra benefits of not having fines and things like that, and giving them extra time to do anything.
It's a bit harsh to find somebody that's housebound and can't get their book back to you because the person that takes their books to has gone on holiday, which happens, we know.
Yeah, so then we would ask you to get them to fill in an application form or fill it in for them on their behalf. They surrender their library ticket, and then we'd match them up with a suitable volunteer. As we say, they're all DBS checked. And then that person would arrange a convenient time to go and see your relative and go and discuss their needs and what kind of genres they like, etc. and take it from there, and then they'd go and collect books for them and deliver them to their home.
Yes, as I say, that bit I know quite a bit about because my wife's involved with it, and
I'm always taking phone calls from ladies that want more books, or even a gentleman, bless him, that wants some new books. But from what little I know of it, it is a wonderful service.
Yeah.
It really is, and I would urge people to use it, because it is a very good service. And of course, my wife goes around and delivers the books, but quite often she's stopping to have a cup of tea and a chat, which is probably as much as what the people want out of it as actually getting the books. So it really is a community service. Now, what does it cost to join the library?
It's free to join any West Sussex library for anyone. And we also offer Wi-Fi now, and to all our members we have internet access for 2 hours a day.
Well, that's great. I mean, people can just come into the library, and provided they're not all being used at the time, they can use a computer and get on the internet.
Absolutely.
And for up to 2 hours a day.
Yes, yeah.
It's almost better than owning your own computer.
Yes, yeah.
Have you got tea and coffee facilities?
Unfortunately not. No, not at the moment. So other things that we have available are different categories of tickets. We're very, very keen and conscious of the need for providing an accessible service to promote independent living for everyone. With this in mind, the library service has introduced a memory management ticket. This card enables individuals to keep their own library card and choose their own books without the stress and worries of causing fines. And that's for eligibility for that is adults who have memory difficulties which affect their ability to return items on time, or people with dementia, brain injury or learning difficulties.
Once again, it's a very sympathetic view to who needs it and people's ability to get things back on time, because quite often if you read a book you think, I've got a week or so to take it back, and it's gone by and you've forgotten about it. And of course, if you've got dementia, the chances are you will forget about it, of course.
Absolutely.
So once again, I think the library take a very sympathetic view of people's needs.
Yeah, we do hold one-off events which include dementia awareness sessions to help people with dementia, but not only them, but with their carers as well. And we actually have an event coming up on the 18th of July, if anybody wants to come along to that, and that will be at 1:30 in the afternoon. We also hold a lot of children's events. We hold the Summer Reading Challenge. That takes place every year during the summer holidays for 4 to 11-year-olds. Everybody can sign up at the local library and read 6 library books of their choice, collecting stickers and rewards along the way, and it's all free. There's a different theme every year for the challenge, and this year it's Roald Dahl. The library service makes visits to school running up to the start of the challenge, and it's always been very successful. We also look for volunteers to help join and listen to the children's story. This is a very vital part of the library service, because they enable the children to make it more fun.
Yes, and you've got to encourage them to enjoy it.
Yeah.
To enjoy reading, because it's so easy not to read nowadays.
Yeah.
With everything else that kids have got. I mean, even youngsters have got phones with cartoons on and things like that. I mean, so their need to read is not perhaps what it should be.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, we have an awful lot of e-products now available via the library. We've just started actually e-comics online. You can actually download a reader onto your device, and then you can get all the e-magazines and comics, newspapers. There's so much stuff available, and that's all available through the libraries now as well.
I'm afraid as far as comics go, I'm old school. I like them to land on the map and then be waiting the other side of the door to pick up the comic. Fond memories of being a kid waiting for your comic to come through the door.
Yeah. But as it's all online now, it's it's another way of reaching people, I suppose, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And it's the way it's going to go. Obviously, it's the way forward. We can't stop progress, sadly, and youngsters are going to be expecting to use these things, or be expected to use them, and so it'll be the way. There'll be no more comics dropping on the mat, unfortunately. well read by the local paper boy before he puts it through the door. Now we're seeing obviously what's coming in the future, and it's good to see, of course, that the library service is keeping up with it.
Yes, we always try and keep
Well,
up.
you obviously do. It's been a long time since I've been into a library, and except for take the odd book back that the wife gives me orders to, but it's ever changing, obviously.
Yeah,
And it's keeping track of what's going on in the world, as it were, with regard to technology, and making that technology available to youngsters, or especially to youngsters, and also desirable, because you can have all the books you want, but you can't force a kid to read.
No.
So you need to want them to read, or you need to want them to use use the technology.
yeah. The children's librarians do go around to all the schools before the reading challenge to explain all the game to the children in all the different years, to try and sort of encourage them to come, and I think there's little prizes and things like that. So
Now, is the library well used? I mean, I'm showing my ignorance now, because the library service is not something you read very much about, strangely. Nobody says, well, we're in danger of losing the library service because it doesn't get used. It seems to sit quietly in the background and carry on. But has there been a time, over the past few years when perhaps because of technology the library service has felt threatened?
no, I don't think so. West Sussex has always maintained that we try and keep all the libraries in West Sussex open. I don't believe that we've sort of had a decline in users, really. We're constantly joining new members to the library for whatever reason. And here in Selsey, obviously, we have a lot of holiday makers, so they come and use the facilities as well.
See, now I'm surprised at that, that people would come and use library facilities when they're on holiday. It'd be the last thing that occurred to me. But it just shows you, the different areas, different requirements.
Well, I suppose in some instances people might not want to pack a load of books in their suitcase, so they come and join as a visitor, as they're welcome to do, and they can have a couple of books out at a time. And also people that haven't maybe got portable devices can come and use the Wi-Fi and the internet access.
Yeah. As I say, it's a bit of an eye-opener for me, because it would never have occurred to me that holiday makers would use a library service, because it would never occur to me, because I'm dumb enough to cart 6 books abroad, and between the two of us read those 6 books in a week, cart them all the way back again. And of course, if I was going on holiday locally like this, I needn't do that.
No, and you can actually download ebooks for going on holiday abroad onto your device to take with you.
So it really is a full service.
Yes, absolutely.
And keeping up with technology, and
Absolutely.
not dragging behind like old fossils like me.
No, there's very little that we don't do.
It would seem so, certainly. Well, I think it's a wonderful service, and I know the pleasure that my wife gets from doing her bit, and the people that she goes to, the pleasure they derive from it as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's just one small part of it, but a very important part in my book. It's the only piece I've got any knowledge of. But I know how important it is to the people that can't get out to get their books. Yeah. And it's fantastic that this service is there, and I would urge people to use it once again. And I'd just like to say thanks for coming in and filling us in on some of what goes on in the library.
Okay,
and,
not a problem.
Good job somebody didn't ask me what the library was about, were they? Now, if people want to join the library in Selsey, they just need to come down, or can they phone up?
No, they do need to come in person, and they'll need to bring 2 pieces of identification with them, something like a driving licence and bill from at home, and then literally it just takes a few minutes and you're all up and ready to go.
Well, that's great. That's great. And so a lot more people get down there, make you very busy.
Yes, absolutely. We'll look forward to that.
Well, thanks for coming in, Claire.
No problem.
Enlightening us about the library service and getting old fossils like me up to date. And We'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
Okay.
To get an update on the newest things that are coming, because it seems it's ever changing.
It is. Okay.
Right. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Claire and Keith. Long may the library continue. It's now over to Mike Nichols for an update on youth work in our community.
Right, in the studio today I have Mike Nichols, who's going to talk about youth work.
Thank you very much, John. Just a little indication of some of the things that are available for young people in our Selsley community, which has about 700 teenagers. One of the very imminent things concerns the Academy Selsley and its students, who earlier in the year entered the regional heats of a dance competition called Rock Challenge, and they won. And so on Monday the 20th of June, they go forward to the finals, where they'll be participating at Portsmouth Guildhall. This has been a wonderful 9-month adventure, led by Chris Williams and his family, supported by the school and the Youth Dream charity. It's engaged over 30 of the students, plus some former students who've come back to help, and we wish them well and hope for good success with Rock Challenge. And we give a warm word of thanks to people who very kindly sponsored the team and raised about £3,000 to pay for all the costs that are involved. And well done to all those who've taken part. On a sunny day down at East Beach, you'll find a lot of young people taking advantage of the skate park, opened last November, largely paid for by our town council. It's very popular with young people on their skateboards or scooters or bikes, and along with the accompanying BMX track and cafe and the games area and activities area for children, it makes a wonderful area for families on a nice day, and it's greatly appreciated by the young people. One of the nice features of it is that the older young people are taking care of the younger ones and teaching them safety and skills and just generally encouraging their development. It's a great facility. It's also right to mention that at the Oval Field and up behind the Selsley Centre, there are also some lovely outdoor games areas that children and young people and families are able to take advantage of. Coming indoors on a Monday and Tuesday evening at Snack Shack, which is a warehouse just opposite the Riviera, been open for 10 years, and on those 2 evenings for 3 hours you'll find between 20 and 40 young people who come to drop into the warehouse, some to play games, some to use their phones or listen to music or eat some of the free food that's provided, or just connect with each other, or sometimes offload to our youth worker. It's a great place for young people's emotional support and for their connecting with each other. Snapchat recently won the Queen's Award for voluntary service, and for all those who founded it and who volunteer, I think there are nearly 30 different volunteers. They do a great job for the support they receive from the wider community and the council. We're very grateful. And then on the site of the Academy School, there's now a youth support centre called The Bridge, which has been open for just a year. And The Bridge offers space for young people who want to drop in during break times and after school. We offer a range of activities, and we offer personal support to young people through counselling and mentoring and in group support work, when perhaps they need help with their confidence or self-esteem, when they're worried about particular issues in their life or family, or indeed sometimes when they just need a bit of help to come off things that are harmful, or they're engaging in practices which will ultimately not be helpful to them. And with our staff and a range of volunteers, we're able to offer a lovely service that supports the young people. Recently we've started a parenting programme which is about supporting parents of teenagers with strategies for behaviour and activities and communication. We've had 11 who've done the initial programme, and we're offering a new programme in September on a Monday, either in the morning at 10 or in the evening at 7. And in between, we're offering some drop-in facilities on a Monday or Thursday to support parents or to offer them a little word of advice if they might be helped by that. So that is just one of a whole range of activities that are available in partnership with the school and the community. And then finally, it's just, I think, important to mention that undergirding all these activities is real partnership working between a whole range of organisations and services, and offering a joined-up approach so that our young people are not only engaged in good activities but kept safe and secure. So you'll be aware that in addition, young people engage in a lot of sport in the town. They engage in theatre and dance and arts groups, music, and just a whole range of options that are available for good pastimes and for family support. So we're really grateful to have so many young people in our town and for there to be such good provision for them in the things that they do and the needs that they have, which can be met and supported. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Mike. See you again soon.
Excellent work. Thank you, Mike. Now, roses are a firm favourite in British gardens, and it's over to David Gaunt with tips for successful rose growing.
Roses. A very English garden scene, but often what we see are straggly, dull-bloomed, leafless plants. So I've today thought a few thoughts and tips for better roses in your garden. Just as a starter, roses can be split into two particular groups. Traditional roses, which are the popular shrub roses, the old garden roses, species roses, hybrids, and what we generally think of as the modern roses, the hybrid teas, the large flowered roses, the floribundas, the clustered roses, and the little patio and miniature roses. So you go to a garden centre or a DI place or a professional rose centre and you're faced with a dilemma. What do you grow? Well, here are 3 thoughts and tips about what to do, doing some research before you start to buy your roses. Roses generally will grow in most soil conditions. They prefer most soil, but as long as it's well drained and in any part of the garden, you can probably grow a rose. So, position. What do you want? Do you want a rose border just with roses in? Do you want a mixed border where the roses are growing amongst other plants in the garden? One of the gardens I did yesterday had a small shrub rose grown amongst the other plants. It'll only bloom for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but it looks attractive now, and for the rest of the season other herbaceous and perennial plants will grow around it. Have you got a climbing position you want it, or a pergola? Do you want to hide some unsightly oil tank, or a garden view? Have you got a shady part of the garden? You can find a rose for most positions. Then you've got to decide what's your favourite colour. Do you want fragrance? I have a great belief in having a plant in a garden that can do 2 things. It can both be attractive and give off fragrance. Do you want it free flowering? Do you want it to flower all season, or are you happy to have it flower for maybe just a short period of the year? And disease resistance. Planting and preparation. If you're going to plant the rose, make sure you dig the hole deep enough, probably a spade and a half deep, and twice as big as the roots you've got. You might want to put some bone meal inside just to get some phosphate for root development. Or, as I do now, I use this root grow mycorrhizal fungi. They're the fungi in the soil that help the plant take up nutrients. I found it very beneficial, and the roses I've grown recently have taken very, very well. Roses don't need a lot of water. They're very good at getting moisture. They've got deep roots, but for the first few years you need to water them probably every 10 days, give it a good soaking. If you're putting in a standard rose, remember to stake it. Roses, especially in this area where the winds are very strong, certainly on Selsey Bill, you need to make sure the rose isn't going to be rocked all the time, the roots come loose and the plant won't grow very well at all. Climbing roses are one of my favourites, climbing and ramblers. But too often you see a poor old climber struggling to a bit of trellis 8 foot by 4 foot when it says on the instructions on the plant or the details of the plant will grow to 15 foot or 20 feet. My great belief is getting it prepared straight away. Use straining wires and use vine eyes, both obtainable from DIY places and hardware shops. Put the vine eyes in about 18 inches apart vertically and 4 foot apart horizontally. And put a straining wire of at least 2.5 millimeters across here. Cover the whole wall, cover the whole area, so that when you do put the plant, it's strong. It's very easy to tie into straining wires. It's quite difficult to start a trellis if the trellis is right tight against the wall. I far prefer on a wall to use straining wires, not trellis. On a pergola, I also use straining wires and vine eyes as well, just to add a bit of depth from the actual pergola to where the rose is. It's far easier to tie in roses that way. Feeding. Roses produce a lot of flowers, therefore they're very hungry. Put a good balanced fertiliser in first thing of the season and then mulch around it, making sure the mulch isn't more than about 4 inches away from the roots. And then probably scrape the mulch away later in the season and put some more fertiliser on once they're planted. For weeding, roots, whilst they do have deep roots, they also have quite a lot of surface roots. So don't hoe very deeply. Either hand pick the weeds away or hoe very shallowly. Deadheading. If the plant is going to produce flowers all season, definitely deadhead. This makes sure that the nutrients in the plant go to the actual new buds, not the old hips. But if you've got a plant that only produces flowers once, one of the beauties of the plants will be the hips. If you cut them off, you haven't got them. So know your plant. I'll hopefully talk about pruning later in the year, as you don't prune in the summer, but we'll talk about that later on. Diseases. Black spot is the main problem with roses. There are some very good varieties now which offer disease resistance. The problem is some of the newer varieties will probably break down, like antibiotic resistance is breaking down in humans. Black spot will show resistance and these plants will break down over the next few years possibly. You may need to spray, and at the same time you can spray for aphids. So remember, do your research. It's no good buying a plant that after a few years looks tatty because you haven't bought the right plant for the situation. If you're growing a climber, make sure you've got plenty of coverage, plenty of straining wires up for it to cover the whole wall. Thank you.
Thank you, David. No excuse now for poor roses. It is now that time when we challenge you with another tricky test, so it's over to Kevin.
Right, hi, here is Kevin the quiz. I've got this week's quiz for you. 5 general knowledge questions. What are the answers and what connects all the 5 answers? There we go. Question number 1. A bit of highbrow for you. In the Kipling poem, what is the job of Gunga Din? What is his job or occupation? Question number 2. Which predatory arachnid carries a sting in its tail? Question number 3. Which crustacean has varieties, many varieties, that include hermit and horseshoe? Which crustacean? Number 4. Which actress played Sybil Fawlty in Fawlty Towers? And number 5. Which creature is known as the King of the Jungle? So 5 questions, but what connects all the answers? Good luck with that. We'll let you know next week.
So, we have reached the end of this week's show. It's thanks to all our contributors, including Local Life magazine, our sound editor John Mallett, our presenters Alison, John, Keith and David, not forgetting of course our producer John Fletcher. So it's goodbye from me, Tony Weiner. Until next time, bye.